Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to the shed. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing great. I'm doing pretty good. Coworker today said, since yesterday's video was so depressing, I had to do an uplifting video today. So, and I was planning on that anyway. Uplifting in the sense that I'm going to share with you an awesome game. I'm going to share with you the Android game that I spoke about quite a bit last week, and this game is Griblers. So I found this game, I think, at random. It was suggested to me by Google. I always go check like the indie picks and stuff, and this game looked really interesting. The reason I downloaded it was because of the art. I'm not going to lie, I love it. I think it's a gorgeous art style. Griblers is a game from a Russian developer, Anton, who I've stayed in contact with for the past week, and I did all the retranslating or all the repair of the English language in the game, and he's done some tweaks to the gameplay based on some feedback of mine. So if you do download this game and try it out, you might be able to blame me. Sorry. So what the game is a turn-based strategy game that has a lot of board game-like mechanics. And I think that's part of the reason why I was attracted to it. The art's gorgeous, the cute little characters are gorgeous, the board game is fun, and it's a single-player game, and that's what I like. So, I'm going to run quite a bit of footage during this, just so you can get an idea of what it is. Griblers, the best of my knowledge, is the approximate English pronunciation of a Russian word that basically means mushroom trolls. So they're like little dudes. So this is like fantasy, but not traditional fantasy, the orcs and goblins and all that stuff. We're talking Griblers, little guys that live in mushrooms, kind of like the Smurfs, I guess, and travel around the forest collecting acorns and defending themselves against scorpions and spiders and ants and such. So at the start of the game, your characters are really weak. They have just arrived at their ancestral town. I'm not going to tell you the whole storyline because it's actually a really fun little story. They arrive at their ancestral town. It's in ruins. They want to rebuild. So they start this journey to rebuild their ancestral home in this forest. And so you start off, with some simple directives. Go out in the woods and collect acorns. You go out, you find acorns. Once you've done that, the story progresses a little farther. Hey, we need to start rebuilding. We should build like a workshop so we can make some tools. And so mechanically, the game flows fairly well. You start off with weak characters. You can upgrade their houses, and that's how you level the character. So upgrading the mushroom, upgrading the barracks, upgrades your warrior, and that gives them, they can move farther, or they can attack more, or have more defense. So you have 3 characters in this game. You have a scout who is really good, there's a fog of war. You'll see here, this fog of war kind of collapses in. You'll discover spaces, and then the fog collapses, and then you'll just have to go back and rediscover. And so the scout can use his vision to kind of unlock that area before you move into it. Otherwise, you might move into an enemy or move into a trap or something like that. Then you have the finder, and he knows how to use tools. So he can use an axe or a pickaxe to go gather minerals or chop trees. He's the only one that can do that. He can also fish. I think he's the only one that can go fishing. Honestly, I haven't played with that mechanic much. And then you have a warrior who can't really do anything other than fight. Like, that's his whole thing. He can train animals if you go fishing. So there's all these little interesting mechanics that tie together. You have to upgrade your house. In order to do that, you're going to have to get resources. There's once you start working on the town, there's a dude that shows up who sells resources. So you can buy some resources, but you're not going to be able to buy everything that you need to upgrade the town. So you're going to have to go exploring, and you're going to have to defend. Attacking is very simple. Your characters have a attack value and a defense value and a life value. Everything that you attack has a life and an attack value. And so when you attack, like you see here, this character has an attack, a defense of 1 each, and the ant that I'm attacking has an attack of 1 and a life of 1. So the ant would hit me, but I have a shield, so I have 1 defense. I'm not going to take any damage. My 1 hits the ant, kills the ant. It's that simple. Then, obviously at the beginning of the game, you're only facing these ants, and then the enemies get exponentially harder. So you're going to have to build up weapons. You can use your recipe book, which you'll find eventually, that allows you to build swords and shields, a bow, so you can the scout can shoot ranged and not take damage, and you can upgrade those things again later on in the game. So once you get farther in the game, like here, you can see that all of my characters, they have vastly farther movement ranges. They have higher defense, higher attack. Also, you can build potions, craft potions, and potions will upgrade your characters even farther for a temporary amount of time. And the story progresses, and it took me probably 4 hours to complete. I think I told him that it took me 3 hours, but I think that was probably an underestimate. Probably 4 to 5 hours, honestly, to run through the game. Because one of the things that was initially confusing to me is the game kind of sets you up to continue running with little achievements, like you need to go do this, you need to go do this. And if you just kind of try to plow through those, the difficulty level of the game goes through the roof, and you haven't leveled yourself enough to be able to handle it, and it gets really frustrating. So it took me 3 attempts to beat the game. The second one, I tried to progress I progressed slower, but I got impatient and tried to rush a little faster than I should have. The third game, I just took my time and made everything that I could before advancing the story. So it's kind of up to you how fast you want to attempt it. And also, if I haven't mentioned it, well, I haven't, the game's free, like 100% free. You can absolutely complete the game without spending a dime. I have done it. Had to try it. Because it's difficult. If you do want to pay, it's like $2.50 or something like that. It's really inexpensive. There's no ads in this game. There's no nothing. You just play it. Unless you want to pay. And if you want to pay, you can unlock difficulty levels. You can make the game easier, or you can make the game harder. You can also unlock upgrades for all the characters, so they can carry more, they can travel farther, they can have more actions every round. And it's a really cool system. The Fog of War is fun because, especially later in the game, at the beginning of the game, like when the ants are there, that's all you have to deal with is ants. And they won't attack you, but if you stumble on them in the fog, then you fight, that sort of thing. Later on in the game, you'll have bees and scorpions and spiders, and if you go attack their little base, you can kill their base so they stop spawning. But as you take turns, those things can respawn, and you don't know it. They'll just be in the fog, and then you go stumble out like, oh crap, I got attacked by a spider. You got to be really careful of that because they can kill you. So that mechanic is really fun. The way that the 3 different characters interact is really fun because you have one character that has a lot of actions, but he's really weak, so he needs to just scout and kind of stay back. You have one character that doesn't do a lot because he's in the storyline, he's lazy, and so he just kind of wants to fight, so he kind of lumbers along. And then you have the other character that can gather all your valuable resources, and you have to protect him because he's weak. So you kind of have to run this little defensive squad around your finder who goes out and gets all your stuff. So it's actually a really fun little game that you can kind of set the pace of. But be warned, if you do pick it up, you do want to play it, you have to slow the game down. You have to intentionally spend time gathering, spend time building yourself up. Don't just go plow through it because you will lose, and it'll be really frustrating. If you lose, the way that you lose, I should mention that is, if a character dies, you can resurrect it. You keep all of your equipment. He resurrects back in town, but he loses a level. And so once the spiders show up, if you start dying, you're basically screwed. Spiders leave traps, and it's really hard to re-level because you have to get to the outskirts. Unless, I should say this, the map is random. The map is basically randomized when you start the game. There are some regions that, the outer regions make mountains, but you might get mountains right next to your base, which if you do, you can probably survive dying. If you die and you have no mountains near your base where you can gather rock, you're screwed because you're going to have to make it all the way to the edge of the map without dying and back with materials, and it gets really frustrating. So kind of build yourself up before you head out and always keep characters close to base to defend. So very cool little game. He has plans for 2 more chapters, I believe. So he wants to make it, his goal is to make it about a 7-hour game from start to finish once it's all said and done. And he's currently working on the next part, which I'm sure I will probably help him with because I'm so grateful for well, you know, first of all, I'm grateful for the project. It's really fun. Like, I had fun working on it because I played the heck out of the game and had a blast with it. But then he paid me, and it was like, oh crap. And he's a really cool guy. We've had a lot of really interesting conversations and stuff. So I'm excited to share the game with you. I hope you'll go check it out. If you like it, you know, let other people know about it. I think it's a fun little project. I think it's he's a really amazing developer. I'm amazed at what he's accomplished. And especially for you, that I know that a lot of my friends are board gamers, this is a good board gaming style app. It's a solitaire game. Super fun for that. So give it a shot. See what you think. Let me know in the comments below. And I might do some gameplay, like actual gameplay on the gaming channel. If anybody wants to see that, let me know. And I might put together something. So thank you guys for watching as always. I hope you enjoyed this. I haven't done a game preview in a while, so I thought I would do one. I do enjoy doing these. I should do these more often, maybe. But whatever. It is what it is. So thank you for watching. As always, I really appreciate you. I appreciate you liking and commenting. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. I'm like this close to 20,000 subscribers. So yeah, thanks for being here. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from Wikipedia. Why do they call Paris the City of Lights? Paris is often referred to as the City of Lights, La Ville Lumière. La Ville Lumière? I can't speak French. Both because of its leading role during the Age of Enlightenment, and more literally because Paris was one of the first European cities to adopt gas streetlights. So literally the City of Lights.